This chapter of the Alabama WIC Training DVD reviews important administrative responsibilities for owners, managers, and store employees. The Alabama WIC Program Vendor Procedure Handbook that accompanies this training DVD includes detailed information regarding these and additional administrative responsibilities. Viewing this training DVD and reading the Alabama WIC Program Vendor Procedure Handbook will help to ensure that you and your store are in compliance with all regulations and procedures. It is imperative that as an authorized WIC vendor, you carefully review your Alabama WIC Vendor Contract in addition to viewing this training DVD. The Alabama WIC program is a federally funded program, and as such, we, as well as our authorized WIC vendors, must adhere to federal regulations. In addition to federal regulations, there are also state procedures that must be followed. Authorized WIC vendors will be notified of any program changes that occur during the contract period. Authorized WIC vendors must maintain the minimum stock requirements of WIC-approved foods at all times. These requirements allow for a WIC participant to fill a voucher and not deplete your inventory should another participant present the same food instrument. The minimum stock requirements are listed in the Alabama WIC Program Vendor Procedure Handbook and are available on our website. Remember from the Cashier Basics section, if you do not have enough stock to fill a WIC food instrument, you cannot issue a rain check. Vendors are never to charge the WIC program for items not received by the participant. It is a federal requirement that the Alabama WIC program collect current shelf prices of authorized vendors. This requirement is met through the submission of a price survey. The state WIC office mails price survey forms to each authorized WIC vendor twice a year with the due date specified. If the price surveys are not returned by the due date, a fine will be imposed. It is important to follow the directions on the price survey and accurately report current shelf prices to the state WIC office, as these prices are used to determine the maximum allowable reimbursement levels for authorized WIC vendors. If after submission a price increases by 10 cents or more on WIC-approved foods, immediately report changes, in writing, to the state WIC office. The Alabama WIC program reviews redeemed food instruments and cash value vouchers for overcharges and other violations. If a violation is detected, the state WIC office can delay payment or establish a claim against the vendor. Claims for reimbursement can be made to the vendor for any charges to the WIC program for WIC-approved food items which are above the prices submitted on the vendor's price survey. The vendor must pay any claim assessed by the state WIC office by the due date specified in the notification, or the vendor will be terminated for cause. The vendor must notify the state WIC office in writing of any changes in ownership, store closures, or store location. Written notification must be received in the state WIC office 15 days in advance of such changes. Vendor contracts are not transferable. If the new owner wishes to become an authorized WIC vendor, they must submit an Alabama WIC vendor application. See the Alabama WIC Program Vendor Procedure Handbook for detailed information. It is the vendor's responsibility to ensure cashiers and other staff are informed and trained on WIC program regulations and procedures. Vendors will be provided with a WIC Employee Training Acknowledgement Form. This document must be on file for all store personnel. Failure to provide proof of employee training on WIC procedures is a violation of the WIC program. If detected, the applicable sanction will be assessed and continued violations will result in disqualification from the WIC program. The Alabama WIC program prohibits the use of incentives to entice WIC participants to shop in a particular store. Vendors who use advertisements to solicit the business of WIC participants and/or offer incentives or delivery services will be subject to contract termination. To ensure the safety of our participants, all Alabama authorized WIC vendors must purchase infant formula from a list of approved sources maintained by the state WIC office. The complete list of Alabama WIC program approved formula suppliers is available on our website and is updated periodically to reflect any changes. Authorized WIC vendors are subject to routine monitoring visits at any time for compliance to WIC requirements. During the monitoring visit, the WIC representative will be verifying minimum stock, checking product expiration dates of all WIC-approved foods, and verifying shelf prices. They will ask to see all food instruments and cash value vouchers, infant formula invoices, and interview employees to determine their knowledge of WIC program requirements. All records pertinent to this monitoring visit must be available for review by the representative upon request. WIC program violations can be detected during store monitoring visits, compliance investigations, and inventory audits. Compliance investigations consist of a series of undercover buys to detect noncompliance. When violations are detected, the state WIC office may impose sanctions up to and including disqualifying the vendor from participation in the Alabama WIC program. Disqualification periods are determined by the type of violation. A complete list of sanctions can be found in the Alabama WIC Program Vendor Procedure Handbook and in the Alabama WIC Vendor Contract. WIC program violations can also result in fine, criminal penalties, and possible disqualification from the SNAP program. In addition, if you as a vendor are disqualified from the SNAP program, your Alabama WIC Vendor Contract will be terminated. At the state WIC office, we are very concerned about program abuse and take all complaints seriously. If you suspect a participant or another vendor is abusing the Alabama WIC program, call the state WIC office at 1-888-942-4673 to report the abuse. Investigations are conducted on all complaints received. Due to the confidential nature of WIC investigations, no information can be released as to the outcome. While we have covered many of the program regulations in this training DVD, you will need to review your Alabama WIC vendor contract in its entirety to ensure that you are in compliance with all WIC program regulations and procedures. You, our vendors, are an important part of the success of the Alabama WIC program. Without you, WIC participants would not have access to nutritious foods. Working together, we can ensure every WIC participant has a pleasant shopping experience and you, in turn, can gain a loyal customer. If you have any questions or concerns, please call the local clinic or state WIC office.